Okay, really quick. I have to make notes so I don't forget, especially when the Lord has given me something. And although I may not post this right now, it's fine. I got to do it so I don't forget. Okay? So I'm putting all this stuff away. We're going to discuss something really quick. I want to tell you something that the Lord was showing me this morning when I was in here making me and my husband's protein shake this morning. So as I was standing in here, the Lord was showing me that people are so quick to talk about marriage with communication and the love language and, you know, making memories and the good, the bad, all that. But nobody really stops to talk about the real and the raw. And what I mean by that is when God joins two people together, He already knows the beginning and the end. He knows who can reach you. He knows who's for you. Now, the question is are we going to stay in alignment with God, right? Are we going to walk the way God tells us to? But I used to deal with rejection really bad. And I would get really defensive if, like, Silas would speak about something. And I know in the depths of my heart it was true. But I would get an attitude with him. And I'm being honest and transparent because God is not going to help any of us if we try to cover stuff up. So I would get really defensive when he would say certain things or do certain stuff or bring up certain conversations or just ask me things about the past or whatever. I would get really aggressive and I would get a nasty attitude and it would lead to picking a fight pretty much, right? An argument, not a fight, but an argument. And in the beginning, he was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, that's a touchy conversation for her. Maybe, you know, she just don't want to talk about that and we're going about our business. All right. The Lord started to show me that it's behind these walls in your marriage. Each one of you knows the better and the worst, right? You bring the best out of each other and you bring the worst out of each other. That's the way it's supposed to be, okay? But it's those conversations that is struck out the middle of nowhere that hits and just stabs the deepest part of you. And I'm talking about childhood wounds, traumas, soul wounds, things that you did. But I'm going to tell you something. That is where the growth begins. And I used to question why this would happen. Oh, God, why do I got to tell my husband about stuff that happened before I ever even knew he existed? Why do I have to talk about this stuff? Why are you making me tell him stuff I don't want to talk about? Because I suppressed things that it went so long that I forgot they even happened. God had to bring back to my remembrance things that I went through. So there would be certain things that the Lord would make my husband do or make him say, even in his sleep, okay? Even in his sleep, there was things that was happening. And so I was pretty much forced to bring this stuff to the table and talk about it. But I started to notice something. I started to notice that when that happens and I bring that to the table and I talk about that, or God tells my husband and he talks to me about it, I'm noticing that there's healing in those areas. I'm noticing that that conversation don't strike me as bad as it used to. I don't cry in a corner no more because you touched a touchy conversation. I don't blame you for being the bad guy because you're trying to bring the best out of me. I'm not blaming the other person now because, you know, you're trying to help me heal from things of my past. And I don't know what I was thinking or why that happened, but I started to see that I dealt with rejection. I dealt with, you know, being disobedient, very rebellious. I did not like... Oh my goodness, I did not like order. Do you hear me? And what I mean by that is I did not like to be told what to do. I didn't want no one over me. I wanted to do everything my way. And it was hard for me to submit, okay? And once I started walking with the Lord, that was a struggle for me too. Submitting, okay? Being submissive to my husband and vice versa. I didn't know how to do it because I never had a real man that stood up and stood in the gaps for me or with me. I didn't. None of the relationships that I've ever had was never biblical. They was never from God. And so I never had that covenant with a partner with the Lord. I never had that. And so I want to share this because I'm sure there's other women going through that too. And I just want to tell you that if you really get honest with yourself and stop worrying about what that person's going to think or what their family may think if you talk about this, you're never going to move past this. I was a big people pleaser and I wanted to make sure that I didn't say anything that would bring any heat on my husband or make certain people look at me a certain way or judge me for my past. But let me tell you something. You do not worry about what other people think because that's not who you are. And if those people are judging you and they got something to say about you and they don't like you for no reason, they got to deal with God, okay? The best thing you can do is pray for those people because obviously they see something in you and they've got nothing else better to do but then try to just hold your past against you and they don't even know you. So many people do this, even in our families. My own family has did it too. But I don't care about that no more. I will not bow down to man. I will not stoop myself lower than who God called me to be. The Lord allowed me to go through those things so that I can be who I am today. He had to let me hit rock bottom so that he could rebuild me and show me what his purpose for my life was. Not my will, but his will. And trying to do that is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. So you've got to be patient, you've got to be willing, and you've got to be able to hold correction. If you are someone that does not like to be corrected, this is not for you. Because God corrects and disciplines the ones he loves. So you got to remember that. You can't be like you know everything and you're not teachable, okay? So I hope this helps at least one person. I don't know why the Lord was showing me that today, but he did. And we just have to roll with it, right? So just remember to hold on. And if those things are happening to you, just trust the process because I promise you it has a purpose. There's a reason for every bit of it.